Right, looks like we are off and running.
Okay, there we go.
Now, for those of you who... Oh, no, go ahead, Fladervy.
Yeah, just starting off. TGH with a slight head start, but you can see at the bottom, this is timed off of in-game timer, so there will be a little bit of desync in that. You can see TGH's timer is 4 or 5 seconds ahead, so he'll be finishing that much faster in real time, but just as of now, they're pretty much tied, just because the prologue. Pretty simple.
We'll see if we can get a sync up from the two, because this is going to be very, very close, so throughout the entire run.
Well, yeah, as far as I can remember, the sync usually comes in, just because the desync is so slight, they don't go through of resyncing it until the final chapter. We may see it some other times, but that's all I'm expecting, is whenever they get into the final chapter.
Oh, yeah. Alright, so we got our lovely city here, showcasing some beautiful talent. Now, it's been a while, so there might be some new strats that some people might not be familiar with. And it looks like we are getting a sync.
Yeah, there we go.
Actually, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, there from the last time on the speed gaming tournament, there might be a new strat at the second to last screen where they do like this really crazy jump and just kind of like book it up there. We'll see it. TGH definitely goes for it.
I mean, to be honest, I watch these guys' streams a lot, and it seems like every single time they're doing something brand new. Whether or not it's like a super popular strat that's been picked up by a bunch of players, but like every time I notice like, oh hey, Flad hasn't done that corner boost. That's a cool new thing.
Oh yeah, I've noticed that too. I definitely make it known in chat if I see something new. Team saving some time not grabbing that wall there for that spike jump.
This is a hard trick in the last room. Flad missing it, bonking his head at the very end. This is this is unfortunately one of the hardest rooms of City, and it comes at the very end. It loses a couple seconds to not make it to the top, but that skip can be pretty annoying. So that's going to put him a little bit behind out of the start. TGH having a pretty solid City, no real noticeable mistakes. Decent pace.
And now Tej heading into the dream block portion. Flad hot on his tail.
Oh, it might have been best of 5. If it is, I'm sorry, I was mistaken. It may be best of 5.
Oh, so is it just one set with the best of 5? Is that...
No, there's still a bracket reset.
Okay.
Oh, but we got the little Madeleines at the bottom. There's 2. So it looks like it's a best of 3. I think it's a best of 3, but correct me if I'm wrong. Getting the audio switch to TGH there. Holding on to a slight lead. It's about a room or two. Ooh, just barely making it through there for Fled. Yeah, this is about a 10-second difference. Actually, no, because there is a slight desync in timers right now. But yeah, that's a pretty solid pace so far from TGH. 3:37. That's like PB pace worthy for a run. Really solid start. And 3:42 from Flad. 3:43, I'm mistaken. Yeah, that's like a 6.5 second difference. Easily doable in Resort. Resort can be really costly, especially with the trick at the end. These guys are really consistent at it just because it matters so much that obviously they've spent a bunch of time practicing it. But it can cost 10 seconds or so to miss. I don't know if they'll be playing it safe there, but we can see. If there's a chapter to make or break leads, it's definitely this one. It's one of the less consistent chapters for quite a while. Yeah, the trick at the end is Demo Dash. I'll talk about that as we get to it, but I wouldn't be surprised if these guys just flew right through it. Pretty consistent runs so far from each of them. Only notable thing I remember is Flad losing a couple seconds to the last screen of City. That's really the only thing making this difference right now. Which that's something I feel like I'm always talking about when I'm commentating these high-level races, is that you spend so much more time commentating on things that you never wouldn't otherwise notice, just because the tiniest things are the only ones that make the difference. Normally it's like you're waiting for a major death to happen, but these guys rarely get them. Just the tiny flubs, that's what puts you behind for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, especially with the caliber of the runners here, it's going to be more reliant on just getting things through each room as clean as possible. I mean, heading into Oshiro on that first section, TGH bonked his head a little bit and saving, losing a little bit of time, but it's those small things that will add up for the entire run here. Also, Fladervy, do you think that we were going to see the runners go for a checkpoint prior to Demo Dash, or are they going to just go through with it?
Okay, so I know for PB attempt runs, both of these runners do checkpointless Demo Dash, just because it's a little bit of nice time save if you can get it, and it's near the start of the run. But in the past, I've seen TGH always go for the checkpoint on no resets and on race formats, just because that's something really risky and often crazy corner boost cycle skip from Flad. That's a new one. That's one of those things I'm talking about. I started seeing him do that recently. It's a really crazy strat. But yeah, I want to say no. I don't think that they will be skipping the checkpoint. You may never know. But.
We will find out soon enough as TGH is quickly approaching the Demo Dash screen here. Flad getting ready to take care of his elevator shaft portion too.
Yeah, it's basically a checkpoint you can grab that's like a 2-second backtrack. See if he goes for it. Yeah, he is. He's playing it safe. Now if he fails this, he will respawn here, but getting it first try anyway. That's why you see them skip it a lot in runs, just because they've put so much time into this. They're pretty comfortable hitting it. Now let's see for Flad if he can hold on to this pace. Yes, he'll be going for the checkpoint as well. Flubbing there a little bit. If we can get this first try. Missing it. He was a little bit too low there. Spending a lot of time aligning the pixel. There we go. That was a decent chunk of time lost, though. Like I said, that's going to put him behind for a while. Unless if we see some kind of major mess up. Like that one fail is all it took. He's flying through Oshiro.
Yeah, he's just blazing through here. Another area that will also determine a huge loss is going to be the Bubs drop in 5A, which we'll get to in a little bit here.
Exactly.
But TGH with a very clean Oshiro. Oh my gosh. Then we see Flad take a death here on this screen, but
okay, that was scary. Missing the cycle, he's gonna have to do some improv here. Okay,
he's just starting out in Resort. Or sorry, Golden Ridge.
Okay, that's scary.
Okay.
Alright. Fladervy is out with a 17-second deficit, though. That's pretty significant. We're gonna have to see something major coming up, but we're only like a third of the way into the run. A little bit less.
And also, Bridge, to me, I feel like it's a very technical chapter. Like, every room, you have the opportunity to just save, like, bits and pieces here and there. And it really adds up. And we got the auto-scroller. I'm going to probably see both go for an ultra attempt in this first room.
This room has potential for a big time loss, but they're pretty consistent at it. So going for this ultra here. Yes. First try every time. That's another strat that people have put a lot of time into getting consistent. I remember back when this tournament was going on, barely anyone did that.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
And now everyone's doing it. It's the hot new strat.
It definitely goes to show just how much the game has evolved as this
missing
tournament
that
has
wall
been
bounce
on.
there. Both of them missing a little bit of a hard strat, losing a couple seconds on each end to make up for it. Flad on the ultra as well. Nice, getting that through.
Alright, Teach quickly coming up to cliff face here.
Yeah, in cliff face it can be a little bit hard to tell, just because of the strats and movement that people do. Ooh, that was close there. But wind works by negating your movement speed and slowing you down. And in this level, or in this section of the level, the wind is so strong that you barely move at all by walking. And because of that, people are spending pretty much the entire time with hyperspeed. So doing hypers on the ground and continuing them into ultras and stuff like that, it looks like the wind isn't even doing anything. And that's why this chapter is one of the like biggest differences in between casual play and speedrunning. It has a pretty big learning curve for stuff like that. Nice ultras there from Flad. G's. How do spikes work? When you touch them, you die.
Oh no, Flad. Missing the input there.
Yeah, that was a really sad misinput. The very end of that screen. This is a rough start. $11-12. Yeah, about 20 seconds or so behind, a little bit more.
Alright, Teach is getting set up for Yeet.
See if we can get this corner boost here for a bunch of speed. Yeet!
Very
You'll
nice.
hopefully see another one from Flad. Going down to get the 5B cassette tape now. We'll be entering the B side. This is another inconsistent chapter in my opinion. We saw them practicing this trick before the run. It can be pretty difficult. But 5B is a pretty difficult chapter. So, we'll see.
A 111 there for Teach. As he gets ready for 5B. Flad also getting set up for Yeet. Oh, it's a good one.
Yeet! Okay, we got
Double
the double.
Yeet, let's go.
It's what we like to see. Now we are listening to a very good song.
Oh, yes.
Okay, this is a make or break point. This trick is really difficult and loses 11 seconds to miss. TGH getting it first try.
First try. That was actually huge because if he would have missed that, they would have been almost even. I mean, a few screens off because you know he would start at the checkpoint, but nailing that first try.
5 feet practice right before the run paying off. I saw going into the stream, he was preparing this chapter, spending a bunch of time on that trick. So yeah, TGH is having a really solid race. It's going to be hard to bring this back based off of how he's performed. He's got a lot of really difficult stuff out of the way. He's just got to play consistent for the end. The end game. Because at the end of this chapter, you're basically only about halfway into the run. The last 2 chapters are really long. Flad getting it first try as well, keeping up. Leaving it alive. It's not over yet. Ooh, barely making it over those spikes there. Getting the Seeker boost to the end of the room, nice timing. Pretty good 5B pace entering Theo.
Fly was having a little bit of hang up on that spike jump there, but gets away, and he's getting ready to enter the second half of the 5B.
Oh, that is scary!
Oh, the save!
He survived it. Okay, he is through. A couple seconds of time lost, that's okay. Okay, barely making it through the last 3. Alright, very good 5B from him. 224 will definitely do. Flad getting the Seeker boost as well, just now entering Theo. Oh, okay. Missed the wall bounce, but realized and survived. Oh, missing Lake Skip, actually. Not dying, so that's only a 2 or so second time loss, but anything will help at this point. I say it like it's surprising for him to miss it, but...
Vlad doing the Ultra Strats?
You just see him hit it so often that you get surprised, even though it's like a 2-pixel trick. So here we go, Flad falling into reflection.
He's just blaring through this first part of Chapter 6. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so like I said, with the hard stuff out of the way, you have to bank on mistakes, and this is something that you see happen a lot, because Flad taking a death on Lake Skip as well, I believe. But, like, the ending is really long, it's half the run, but I want to say it's a decent bit more consistent than, like, Chapters 3 and 5, for example. There's some really deadly sections of Summit, but they're also really short.
Yeah, and also, in-game for TGH is, like, probably his strongest out of the entire game, so... But Flad, too. Flad is very aggressive, so, I mean, it's really just going to come down to playing as clean as possible. Any deaths here or there, especially on a long room, could easily bring this back into course.
Just to give a little insight on the pace here. Fladervy getting a 15:02 out of Temple, with TGH being like 20 or so seconds ahead. The pace that Flad is on, 28 or sub 29, is essentially out of the question for him, which I mean would be crazy to get in a race. But getting a 28 on that pace is, I don't want to say very likely. So if TGH can hold on to that and just come within 20 seconds of his PB, which, I mean, he's on pace to do right now. We just have to have a rough ending from TGH. I know Flad is a god at the last 2 chapters, so he has the chance to pull it back.
Oh, he's showing off a little bit of swag movement there. Definitely in his element right now. Alright, let's get those heyas in chat as we get into this battling fight. With Flag not too far off.
Oh, missing a half cycle here on Fladervy's end. He's got Adapt. Okay, barely making it through. Oh no, Flad! On the ravine. Taking a death here is always really annoying.
Wow, he just lit. Woo! He entered that room so fast. Fladervy also doing a little bit of swag too. He's getting ready for his battling fight here. However, on TGH's end, this has been very clean.
Oh! Nice corner. Yeah, this reflection, nothing too much to say about this overall, which... When there's not much to say about something, at this level it must be good.
Oh yeah. He's starting the second round at 432.
Oh my gosh!
God.
That is a big help. He actually ultraed so fast he went past the springs. That is a huge death. That's exactly what Flad needed. He's got to back this up here. Barely making it under that laser. I can't believe he went for it again. Okay, that is what Fladervy needed. That is going to be a huge help. And now this race is definitely up for the grabs for either of them on Summit. For sure.
Yeah, definitely. He's clocking in at a 2029, I'm sorry. Maybe 2030. Yeah, 2030. Wow, that death. I was not ready for that. I thought that he was in the clean. I was about to start just commending, and then he just went face first. I've never seen that before.
So yeah, on TGH's current pace, 28 is still alive for him. Which, like I said, is very difficult for Flad to do. He needs a Summit under 8 minutes and 30 seconds. Which he is known to do a lot. But staying within that amount of, like, with that little mistakes for such a long chapter is not easy. Yeah, Fled 25 seconds behind.
Yeah, we should be getting anticipating a sync, but we'll see. Flad hardly having a rough start.
Straight out the gate. Taking
another one too?
This screen is pretty annoying sometimes. He goes for a really hard strat there. That's something I haven't seen. TG's getting out of 500 pretty well.
Getting into 1000 here.
And that is a pretty difficult checkpoint. Here comes the sync. Maybe in a moment. There was a sync earlier in the run, but due to loading times, Flad loses a little bit behind each time that they enter a new chapter. So that's why a sync at the end of the run is usually done. Just because there's no more loads from this point on. It's just gameplay till the end. Nailing 1,000 meters as well.
Ooh, Fladervy coming in with the ultra strats. I love that. Teach getting set up for the triple ultra room.
We've called it triple ultra room for a while, but with that strat that people started doing, it seems more like a quad ultra. It's a bit more consistent.
Teach landing in 2,000 at 23:42. Still a pretty nice lead. Nice demo from Tej there. Getting through the battle in alley-oop here as he has his 2,500. Fladervy's just starting out on his 2,000 trek here.
Yeah, he is giving no room for a comeback right now. He is definitely has 28 potential with this run right now. So all he needs was a sub 830 summit, and he's definitely playing for that right now. Okay, I'm gonna actually watch out for TGH's Summit IL right here, because this is clean. Like, actually clean. Oh my gosh.
That is very solid. As he heads into 3,000 here.
It's a 538.
I'm awful at remembering IL records or IL PBs, but is Tej's 816 or is it faster than that?
It is an 817 or 8. It's somewhere from 817 to 815. He did it offline and posted it in the Discord. That's all I remember of it. Yeah, it's like a 816 or 15 or something like that. Yeah, he can IL PB this summit with a really solid 3K. That was a little bit of a flip right there.
Can we talk about that presence of mind, though? It's like as soon as he dashed, he knew he didn't have enough height and immediately went to save that. Oh my god.
Yeah, like,
just here to play.
That's the kind of tournament play that makes you really good at these kind of situations. Like, making backups in this game is such an important thing to know. You just have to have extensive knowledge of, like, multiple strats for, like, every screen, because not everything's always going to go how you want it to.
I know, Fladervy in 3000.
Ooh, cutting it close there. Okay. Accidentally did a grab jump instead of a wall jump at the end there. Barely made it onto that platform. Didn't get the flag because of it, but I believe he's used to that, so no big deal.
So yeah, TGH looking to get a sub 29 here, barring any mishaps.
Okay, there's one. That's a couple seconds. Yeah, other than that, giving no room for a comeback, really. When you get an end game like this, the race was over after Chapter 5. If you can play the end like this, there's not much you can do. Just closing that out really solidly with a 28.55.
Yeah, overall a very solid run.
28.54.
I mean, two mishaps. You know, that the end of Chapter 6, and then that small little bump on Flag 3. But overall, very solid run from TGH as Fladervy is heading into flag number 6 here.
Gonna be a low 29 for Flad here, which is a very good time. It's crazy that in this state of the game we're sleeping on a time like this. Really good, just not quite good enough in this situation. GG to Flad, getting a pretty solid summit time as well. Just took all that deficit from the first half of the run, couldn't make it back up. I've been informed of the format now. It is 1-1 now. It is a best of 5 set, but the winner's bracket advantage is that you start out with the game on your side. So this is 1-1 now. Yeah, like, Fladervy brought back time in summits. You can see by the ILs here. Which is something he's very capable of doing. It just wasn't enough. It's the inconsistent chapters are like, it sucks that they're so early in the game, because if you just play like these guys do and give no room for a comeback, it's just over at the start. You just gotta look out for chapters like 3 and 5. Those are the ones that are more likely to kill.
So I'm not sure if the runners are going to be taking a short break before we head into the next race, or if they're going to dive right in. So give us 1 second. We will figure out what the game plan is here.
Going for some first screen practice. This took him 3 tries to do in the race, so it's a bit costly. Yeah, getting it all 3 times he just attempted it. That must be annoying that, you know, when you're in practice, it doesn't seem like a problem at all, but then you go into a run, you just mess it up 2 times for no reason. I understand that pain. I mean, to give an accurate comparison on 5A to 5B, the world record for 5A, the A side is 3:59 by Fladervy, and the B side world record, but like the time getting the tape plus completing it, is like 3:36 or 3:37 or something like that. So currently the fastest done is like 22 seconds. Which that time was also done by Fladervy. Okay, and we're kicking off the next one. Would have been more synced up this time. Yeah, you don't need to complete the A side for anything. Beating the B side unlocks Chapter 6 even if you don't complete 5A. And you don't need to complete 5A to access the B side either. The commentators are me, I am Flarebear, and then FC Racer.
I am also here too. Getting caught up. Looking forward to this race here. Ultimately, I feel like what we're going to need to see from Fladervy is just a little bit of cleanup early on. His in-game was very strong, so demo dash is one of the things too, and you know, not have the mishap that happened in City. Other than that, we could easily take this next race.
See, a lot of the make or break moments of the runner were really early on, so we gotta pay attention going straight into it. Yes, TGH won the first match by like 22 seconds or so. It was a 28-54 against a 29-17. And Fladervy is coming in from the winner's side of bracket, which gives him the winner's bracket advantage. So he is starting out with 1-game win. So TGH winning the first game, that puts it 1-1, because Flad has the winner's side bonus. So now the rest of it is essentially a best-of-3 set. Each of them need 2 more wins to take it, which we'll be lighting up with these little Madeline sprites next to their names at the bottom. Flad taking a death there.
But Tej missing the opportunity here. Missing that jump there.
Still
3 seconds.
Slight lead. Yeah, not as bad as last time, even though Flad's city time was slightly worse. It's a little bit closer than it was before. Yes, Fladervy is coming off from a long break, actually, during the time that we were waiting for this match to happen. Flad was off the game. He de-rusted very recently, and now is coming back hot into this set after getting a couple PBs. And that's why...
Sorry.
That's why the times are like so much faster than when you witnessed their last set, where they were getting like mid to high 29s. Now they're getting 28s. It's crazy. Go ahead.
I was going to mention that Tej has been focusing on all chapters, as he has AGDQ coming up. So he did de-rust a little bit yesterday, and obviously with the time from the first game, he seems very confident and comfortable. Tej clocking in the wake at about 3:22.
Maintaining about the same pace.
Fladervy running into a wall there.
Yeah, Wake being a little annoying to him right now. But the end should be fine. Alright, so yeah, losing a couple more seconds there. Now he's got a 6-second deficit. Which is about the same as what it was last time. Oh, TGH barely making that cycle. Flubbed a little bit.
Oh, he jumped a little too high and went face first into the wall there, but...
Oh, missing the cycle. He's gonna take a backup, takes a death there.
God.
That can help Fladervy out a lot. Because now he has to do a backup cycle too. That was a hefty time loss. Not a screen you see them mess up often. Kind of take that cycle for granted sometimes, but it can be precise. Yeah, Fladervy's actually slightly ahead now.
Yeah, Fladervy's ahead by about, I want to say 2 seconds?
Yeah, about.
Teach almost missed the key. Oh my god.
Yeah, when you do that ultra, you have a lot of speed, but you get it from Madeline crouching. So when you ultra under the key, you can actually like crouch while going super fast and go straight under it and miss it.
Alright, Fladervy's lead is extending now. He's up by about 4 seconds. As we hit into a huge mess here.
Ooh, scary. Flood almost falling down. It recovers at the end there.
Oh, wait a minute. What did Fladervy do right there? Did he ultra into that room?
Yeah, you make about the same cycle, but you know, just some tiny swag time save.
Oh my goodness. I was not ready.
There are a couple top runners that do that strat. Not very widely used, but it's up there. That corner boost again. I love that strat so much.
That was so smooth.
I enjoy watching it every time I see it. It's just so good. That wall bounce cycle is also really good. Yeah, Flad with a really solid resort so far. Oh, scary. Recovers it. So entering back into Demo Dash, as we've seen, they're both taking the checkpoint, which is smart. Oh, scary. Okay, barely making it alive there, Flad. Yeah, we just gotta hope that they can set it up quickly and hopefully not take too many deaths on it. TGH taking a death for his own. See if Flad can get revenge from last race. He does.
Woo.
So yeah, now we're seeing basically vice versa of the situation from last race. And it's a hard one to come back from. So yeah, a sync soon would be nice, because Flad actually has a hefty lead here. Ooh, nice ending there. Alright, so yeah, Flat has a 9-second lead. Oh, I just noticed the layout has been updated. Now I can... Here we go. So now you have the Madeline display showing their score. It is first to 3, best of 5, basically the same thing, however you want to call it. Easy auto score skips from each of them. Good looking ridges so far. Ooh, TG taking a death on that cycle skip. That's gonna put Flat even further ahead. Ridge is pretty short in one of the generally more consistent chapters, even though it's still really technical. But each time we've seen each of them take some kind of costly death. Flad took a costly death the last round in Cliff Face. So even though it's not as likely to be a killer, it's definitely showing to do that in these races. Flad's just got to do his best to hold on to this. He is a really strong player at the end game. Saved time off of his Reflection and Summit last race, so if he can do that again, this is looking good for him. $10.49, maybe $10.50. Either way, really good. Yeah, $10.49.
The T just clocking in 11:06. I'm sorry that I'm not talking as much. I am just sitting here like, just super tense. Like,
yeah, Flad's on a really good run right now. Definitely very exciting. Getting another yeet from Flad. Both making the fast cycle on that taper. It's a difficult one to get. Basically tied RTA, but Flat actually has a 15 or so second lead.
We do have Bub Drop coming up, so... But again, after that, it's just like... Flad could end up taking this one home.
Yeah, we just gotta hope 5B doesn't do something really costly, because it has a lot of potential to. Both were fortunate enough to get Bub Drop last run. Let's see if they can nail it again. It's a very important moment right here. TGH getting it, Flad taking a death. He's got to make it through now.
Oh,
Flad
no.
missing it. Okay, that about evens it up, actually. Assuming he gets it second try, this is about an even race right now. Taking another death on that block strat. He's got to nail this right now.
Oh no.
Missing it again. This is what 5B likes to do sometimes. Yeah, this...
Again. Oh no.
It's a very fun trick. Probably my favorite, if you ask me.
Flavor, what is the amount of time? Like, how many frames do you have to make that jump?
2 frames.
Again.
This is what menu storage died for, ladies and gentlemen.
Come on, Vlad.
There is no other route that comes within like 10 seconds of speed of this trick. Like, you have to do this, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, the closest option is the spike jump, but even then, like, the death is about the same amount of time lost. There we go. So with that being said, Teach is now in reflection.
Yeah, Flad is no quitter. He's going to finish this one out. Like, if you watch his streams, the way he improves and how he does runs, he does not reset. Like, he continues these runs and he just keeps going and he does it for the practice. So yeah, Flad's difference in time is going to be much different than what it actually is now, just because he spent a lot of time in the menus. Because each time you fail the bubs drop, it's faster to re-exit and just try it again. So his in-game timer is a minute behind right now. The lead difference is even more than that.
Siege is blaring through the battle and fight here. There really isn't a lot to say in regards to the battle and fight. I feel like it might be one of the most optimized sections of the game. Okay, well that was something. Again, that nice adjustment there. Didn't get his dash back, was able to come with a backup there.
Yeah, in the case of a forfeit, TGH would still have to complete you. That will not be happening. He is not the type of runner to close out a race like that. The desync will be fixed momentarily. It's changed at the start of Summit. Yeah, he missed Bub's drop like 6 times, which costs 11 seconds per fail. Other than that, he's on a good run. Like, he was 20 seconds ahead entering that trick.
Alright, so we're going to get a sync here.
I love that reverse ultra strat that Flad does in that screen. So nice looking. Well, the desync comes from 2 different things. Normally, it's just because of Flad's load times between chapters being slower, but in this case, it was because of the failed attempts on Bub's drop in 5B each time you menu out of the game and re-enter the chapter and retry it. And that made up for a lot of like desync in game time. There's only one failed attempt that affected the desync. Each time that you re-enter the chapter, it's like extra time menuing. Like, he returned to the map like 3 times. It's extra time that you re-enter the screen. What was that chapter 6 by Fladervy, just by the way?
Is it a 5 something?
I can't see the IL. Let me look on the restream. 533.1. Oh my gosh, that is an IL record, solidly, I should say. That was insane. You know, the previous IO record was like 536, maybe 535. I might be remembering wrong. That is incredible. Yeah, like that's something that can happen in this game now with this new route. Like, this entire run from Fladervy is amazing. Like, probably even PB potential, but you know, you just go to 5B. Whoops, didn't press the button on the right 2 frames. And your run is gone. Have fun. Every other chapter's been phenomenal. Yeah, that's why Flad doesn't forfeit. And that's also why Flad has the IO records on, like, all the endgame chapters. He spends so much time playing and practicing it. It pays off. Oh, missing a Dream Hyper there from Fladervy. That's a really annoying death to have. Another one. If you ever fail those, you just dash, like, right into oblivion. You don't really have a way to back it up.
TGH getting that demo again in the battle in Alley-Oop here. into the sink here.
Yeah, it's gonna be redone for a little bit. Just 20 more seconds. The total time loss to Bugstrap, I'm not sure. I don't remember the exact amount of misses, but it was like 6 or maybe more fails on the trick, which is 11 seconds each. It was over a minute for sure. Especially considering Flad was 20 seconds ahead going into it. So we are good to go now. Wait, a couple more seconds. Okay, there we go. Should be good now, hopefully.
TGH is having a very solid 3,000 run here as Fladervy gets in line to take on his attempt. On the home stretch, it's gonna be pretty. Is he gonna mix up 29 again?
It'll be a 29 OX.
Oh, two.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Really consistent, which is, you know, that's how he plays. That's what he goes for. He plays safe, he plays consistent, and he just pumps out really solid times. And the way you take wins over a playstyle like that is you legit just have to play out of your mind. And, you know, get close to a PB, which is what Fladervy did last time. But it's really hard to keep up like that. It's so demanding.
Yeah. Especially because just like once TGH gets that lead towards the end of the run, it's so hard for anybody to come back. And then, even then, we've seen this in other matches with TGH as well, is where if it's reversed and TGH is behind, he actually will pull out all the stops and just like play more aggressive and actually catch up. So it's not to say that he plays consistent, but he is capable of turning it up when he needs to. So. think it's just like how he's been, like he's just been able to perform so well in this tournament.
.30-35 with a bit lost on Summit and a lot lost to Bubs Drop. Given those time losses, the rest of it was a really solid run, even though it's such a big loss. Oh wait, I messed that up. I mean, yeah, Flad did just 3-second IL record in that run. It's just a few things that went really wrong.
Yeah. But he's still on pace. Like, anything can happen. It's just that, you know, that trick in 5B is a tough one. I'm anticipating that we'll see Fladervy go back into that in the time, you know, like in this rest period to try to tackle that over and get that out of his mind. That's going to be the big thing moving into the next race. Is like, you can't think about what happened in race 2 in that particular spot. He just needs to, you know, just go in, do what he needs to do, and then move forward.
And yeah, Flad is definitely capable of doing that. Considering, like, you know, doing no resets, you're gonna always have those really rough runs. Whenever you want to close out every single one, you're gonna have those rough runs, and you know, he's used to it. He can easily pull it back.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's got great composure. I mean, we've seen it, you know, in his city attempt. He had a mistake, I think, with the spike jump, but, you know, that other screen, the one afterwards where he missed wait, no. I might have my whole thing messed up here. I think that might have been TGH that messed up on that last screen in the first race. I can't remember. It's gone by so fast. It's all blur. But we'll see if we're gonna get a little bit of a break here, or if we're gonna jump right into the third race here. Again, TGH is currently up 2-1 in this best of 5.
Okay, so unfortunately, FC Racer had to take a leave. Some plans came up early, so for the last matches, you'll be stuck with me. Have fun.
Shout out to all my Chileno.
Yeah, thank you, FC, for your time. It was fun. It's too bad we couldn't do more, but the set must go on. Uh-oh. Commentary is about to get hype in a second.
Hey, it's me.
Hello, Birdo Prey. Birdo's name should be put up in a moment. I believe we are getting a three-way now. Because, you know, the classic Flat TGH three-way hype commentary might be returning. There he is. Hello, M Sushi.
I'm here for some Celeste.
Hey, buddy. I heard there's some Celeste going on, so I wanted to get in on that.
Okay, we're starting already. Okay. Pog champs in chat. Right.
It's been a bit of a series so far, hasn't it?
Yeah. You know, he has the potential to. And I think it really shows by the fact that he got that reflection IL immediately after such a rough 5B. That, like, this tilt isn't gonna stop him from bringing it back next time.
Yeah, you can see a lot of players, they definitely shut down after they, you know, maybe lose a minute to a single trick, but Fladervy, he does not shut down, he bounces back with a individual level world record, so we'll see how this carries in the next game for him, this momentum. City looking good so far for both our runners.
Oh, hopefully the last screen doesn't be super mean again. Oh! Okay, nice backup. Missing the crumble block, so he has to go over and just grab it straight on the side. Right, TGH getting that strat. Flad taking it safe.
Yeah, not even going for the corner strat.
Yeah, probably too annoyed with that. Doesn't want to waste more time on it.
But again, you know, this is not, these first two chapters are not where we find out who's going to win the race or who gets the lead. This is where we find out how confident are these players right here, you know?
Yeah.
And when you see Fladervy, you know, taking those safe strats, it's a little bit worrying, especially for a character of his nature. You know, he's all about doing those no reset runs, being +2 and still trying to hit those incredibly hard strats.
Oh, that's a misinput from Fladervy there, just dashing straight into the spikes. Nothing too bad, but anything matters.
Especially we're talking about Flad, but TGH, he's a rocket that looks like he's not slowing down anytime soon. I don't know why I was going for that rocket comparison, but he's zooming. He's going fast.
This is tracked by in-game time. So yeah, there will be a little bit of desync at some points. But right now, they're not far off from each other. Why IGT? Well, you can see by watching this race, every time they enter into a new chapter, Fladervy gets a little bit more behind each time due to his loading times being slightly slower than TGH. And being slower because of not having a good computer is no fun. So
Also,
we make it fair.
The game provides its own really great in-game timer.
Yeah.
So there's no real reason not to use it. Teach is about 4 seconds ahead right now, entering into chapter 3.
But again, that's the time of like maybe one solid death, so that can change.
Yeah, and last time Flad popped off in resort a little bit. We had the huge mishap on this first screen. You took like 10 seconds there last run.
And again, earlier I mentioned how those first 2 chapters don't account to a lot. This is when, this is where if you're playing, you don't want to do a TGH there and take a death. And another one, this is where you want to put your big boy pants on.
Yeah, this is going to help him out again. Resort, other than the first race, being pretty helpful to Fled. Tiny bit of resync here. So yeah, Fled is slightly ahead, about a second, maybe a tiny bit more.
I'm going to pay attention this time to see that new corner boost strat everyone's been raving about from Vlad's side. I missed it twice in a row now. Both players moving really confidently through the first segment here.
Fled saving 7 or so seconds off of him on the pace to this first button. Pretty nice.
Oh, really, really cool. All right, now I can see what the fuss was about.
Just gotta flex on him.
A little bit of a flub there, though, but
Fladervy just has the section down when it comes to movement. Even if TGH shouldn't get any deaths there, it's hard pressed to beat that time so far. And we're going to be coming up on the demo dash here, which can definitely change a lot for our runners. Hopefully, we'll see a double first try.
Ooh. Peach missing his first one.
Oh, that's a sync double demo dash.
Oh, Fladervy getting his first, Teach on his second.
Oh, but missing the test cycle attempt there.
Yeah, Fladervy going for a very dangerous corner boost strategy, saves a bit of time, but unfortunately just didn't have the juice to recover.
Still maintaining a 5-second lead. This is good for him, especially coming out of a pretty difficult chapter.
Both players with an excellent final screen of Oshiro.
806 to 809, slightly less than a 3-second lead. Still pretty alright from each of them.
Yeah, I mean, this is where I talked about. That's the resort is the chapter where you want to turn up, because if you set it downward, if you get a bad resort, it's only going to go downhill from there. So
yeah,
Fladervy really showing right there, convincing the audience here that those last 2 games have kind of been a fluke when, you're getting a 420 resort with the checkpoint.
also something slightly surprising, we haven't really seen any, crazy ridges so far yet. Most of the ridges that have been done have had slight mishaps, but I think these guys easily have the potential to just throw out a like solid 240 right here.
Another sync going on. Hang tight.
I mean, Ridge is definitely one of those chapters where it's a lot easier to have mistakes on the more costly end, for sure. In comparison to other chapters, but
Fladervy getting that ultra into a wall boost there. That auto scroller skip, really nice.
And no fails on that today, fortunately. It's not the hardest thing, but you always get scared of it just because it's really costly. Like, just something really silly goes wrong. It's like, oh man, well there goes 10 seconds. That's fun.
A 10-second risk for a half a second time save. That's what this game's about.
Pretty much.
Into cliff face for Flad, and Teach following behind. It's quite literally a game of whatever you can do, I can do better here. As both of our runners heading into the harsh wind section. Not a major mistake for either of them yet. It's quite pleasing to watch.
Yeah, here come the really good ridges that I was hoping for.
Yeah, both players executing the fastest strats perfectly, as far as I can tell. Wow. Ooh.
Oh man,
a little
Flame
bit late on
menu
that
at the
skip
end.
there.
Yeah, but otherwise, that was really good.
I can't
Was it a
see
238?
239 and 240, I think.
I think that could have been a 238 based on like
I think he paused slightly early.
yeah, the missed menu at the end. Yeah, that probably would have been a 238. That was an insane ridge.
But again, we've seen how the last two races went. A 3-second difference at this point is definitely the outlier in terms of the differences, but we also saw how Chapter 5 can ruin some runs, so we're gonna see if Mr. Cholino or Mr. Babai will be faithful.
Yeah, it's going to be a big moment of the truth here with the Bubs drop.
Yeah, but even before that, you know, TGH is also already struggling with a small death. I mean, normally those deaths don't matter too much, but that's 3 seconds, and the lead between them was only 3 seconds coming into this, so technically just doubled the lead. And think about it like that.
See if you can get it quick. Yeet! Okay, there we go.
Can we get another one?
So many this race. It's okay.
Teach not going
We
to get
already
that
got like 4 or 5. I think I'm satisfied with the amount of yeets we had. You can't be bad. Fast tape cycle again.
Very nice tape for Fladervy. You can see here he's definitely took a distinctive lead out of this one. Combined with TGH getting a small death, but also missing the depths corner boost, aka the yeet strategy. Definitely a more decisive lead for Fladervy going to 5B. But again, this is where we questioned how real are mental blocks. I don't know, guys. How real are they?
They're about as real as your mind is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's
Team
check out
Flad.
Fladervy's mental fortitude here.
Yeah, he has a pretty good mindset.
Here we go. And he got it. All right.
Let's go. That's big redemption for him.
But let's see, can TGH respond here?
All
He
right.
will.
Teach got it too. It's still a race.
We got a race on our hands.
Yeah,
All right.
TGH with a 100% success rate so far.
I'm 12, but yeah, definitely. I mean, even then, it's 5V is a very challenging chapter, despite some people do consider it the easiest B-side, and is the one we use in the Amsterdam, but Fladervy is showing off here that not all the speedrun strats are quite as easy as they seem, definitely struggling a bit on that spike jump. TGH will be capitalizing off of that mishap. But this is definitely, we saw last race, how much that trick just completely turned the tide of the race.
And I saw TG mess up the bump drop like 5 times during the pre-race practice. But I guess
I
he
noticed that
got it
too.
all out of the way then.
Yeah, he went crazy on that trick in practice, and now he's just going crazy on it. Flad still has a 5-second lead. That spike jump definitely kind of cut his lead in half, but it's okay. If he can just hold on to the rest of this, he's good. Nothing really major.
Yeah, because at this point, this is the part of the game where you would definitely expect TGH to have the better early game out of these two players. The first 4 chapters, give or take, I'd say you definitely give the edge to TGH. But coming into these later game chapters, now that we have that small gimmicky trick out of the way, you definitely have to give the edge to Vlad here. And yet TGH is actually struggling a lot on the first couple of screens of the Theo section. This is very uncharacteristic from him.
I've got to say, this is looking good for him, because in all the races we've seen so far, he has saved time over TGH on the endgame chapters. Even if he was coming out of a really tilting 5B. He just is really, really strong at the endgame.
And this is looking like it's going to be a really good 5B split for Fladervy.
Yeah.
A 14:33 file timer. I mean, I don't know if my 90% PB is good, but I know that split's about tied with it, so... And even TGH, 11 seconds behind. We have some very high quality gameplay on our hands, and we have about 14 more minutes to go, give or take. So,
I think your PB is pretty good.
thank you, Flair. I think you're pretty good.
Thank you, M Sushi. I appreciate it.
You can see Lake Skip here. Maybe a runner can get tilt on this. Fladervy is not going to take that
Really
chance,
nice.
though. Yeah.
And
First try on the fast Lake Skip.
Mm-hmm.
And TGH also with the first try. A little bit of a slower setup.
That's kind of the last gimmicky trick we'll see for the rest of the run, I'd like to say.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not as gimmicky as the Bubs drop we see in 5D, but it's definitely a small window thing that can cost you a decent amount of time. But from now on, we're looking up straight up movement, baby.
Yeah, it's all moving from here on out.
And here's the thing, you gotta imagine, Fladervy off that last race, he got an individual level world record in reflection. This time he's coming into reflection on some good pace. Gotta wonder what's gonna happen.
Tej sort of dropped the ball on getting the head of the Kevin clock in that earlier run. Not going to cost him very much time, but just adding a tiny little bit to Fladervy's lead.
Because again, I've said this before, but from my professional Celeste analysis skills, this is definitely going to be, at this point, it's going to come down to a Fladervy misplay. Even though there's so much of the game left, this is the part of the game where Fladervy excels at over TGH. This is where he can definitely get the edge. If you're TJ right here, you need to stick to your consistency and hope that Fladervy is going to be the one to bite the dust.
Yep.
A nice corner boost from TGH. That's not one you see every...
Ooh.
Yikes.
Was not a great death.
No, that was a really bad death. Quite a costly one. I think a misdirect dash. I think it was an upright instead of a right. And Vlad's almost, he's running away with it. This is a very decisive lead from him.
Getting through that third shortcut with no problems. And not that it's a very hard trick for these top runners, but that would be another place where we might see a big change if something went wrong.
Birdo, it's 2019. Come on, man. I don't think I've ever seen a runner die in there.
He
I
took
haven't
a death
even
in the
learned how to
roof.
fast fall through that thing yet, man.
I don't remember if it was to the third ravine, but he did take a death in that screen a bit earlier.
Battleline section for Fladervy. Again, this is where you definitely expect... I personally expect Fladervy to run away with it at this point. This is where he excels at the game. Despite maybe TGH having the cool sub emote, I don't know if that alone is enough to get him through this, you know? Oh,
Oh, the corner there, messing up that strat. Hopefully he can get it second try.
not
Oh,
even
he's
going
taking
for
it
it.
safe.
I think he knows that he's on a really good run right now.
Yeah. I can completely understand that.
That is
Really
quite
unfortunate,
unfortunate, though. Yeah.
These guys are going fast.
Yeah.
A bit fast. But again, this is where we take into account to these questions. I don't want to bring that burden upon TGH to remember what happened that first game in that last battle line room, but you know, when the races are this close, you gotta question. Something like that does happen, the lead completely erupts. TGH missing bad line there. Small hiccups. But they can do great deals to your confidence. Speaking of confidence, Fladervy, a couple of minor
Flad.
mess-ups.
Finishing off that battle fight with that great ultra.
Oh, TGH!
Oh,
I
no.
looked away. What happened? He died in that room. That is tragic. I don't know what happened, if he got a bad cycle, if he didn't get the feather correctly. Yeah, it looks like he did not preserve the feather correctly. That's a massive death.
Yeah, that's a big one. Fladervy coming out of here with, looks like it's going to be at least a 20-second lead.
At this point, you say, Fladervy here, the Summit individual level world record holder, by about 6 seconds. At this point, you say, what hope is left for Tej? And not only that, I would go as far to say Fladervy is on a personal best pace for the entire game. Although, of course, we have 8 more minutes of commentary to curse him, so we sit back.
I've hopefully learned my lesson, because I have a bad history of that.
Oh, I have not. We're gonna see here. Again, like, there's such a big gap. Wow, that was hard. There's such a big gap between these two runners, and I know what you might think is that this is an 8-minute long chapter, and surely you can make up 20 seconds within these 8 minutes, but just how optimized these two runners are, it's hard pressed. You need multiple, and I mean an uncharacteristic amount of mistakes from either end to make up 20 seconds. Either for Fladervy to gain 20 seconds, or TGH to gain 20 seconds. Like, either have to make beyond unthinkable mistakes.
Missing the coin there, he backs it up well.
But amazing backup. And that's why it's so hard for the runners to make up, you know, a handful of seconds like that, because when these guys make mistakes, they're often able to recover it with just a couple seconds lost.
Mm-hmm.
The high IQ play, oh, I was just about to say, because TGH's timer always catches up faster, was to put him behind, but We are actually fixing that right now so we can get you some high quality Celeste action here. Just about synced up. Thank you, Speed Gang.
Only the highest quality here.
It's a very tense moment right here.
Let's see if Fladervy can pull off those Dream Hypers. He was having a little trouble last race.
Yeah, that is true.
Very nice summit so far for Flad, and not even bad for TGH. I know we're focusing on Flad because he's in the lead, but both our runners are doing outstanding so far. But that's the thing, we do have to focus on Flad here. For this race to go in the favor of TGH, for him to close out the series, it's gonna take some misplay. It's gonna take some death. There's no way TGH can close this out just by getting an incredible summit on his own.
Yeah, if Flad does this thing, it's over. And that's kind of what happens with these final chapters.
Ooh. Small death. That's not too expensive. That room is quite short. But when you look at rooms like this is where you say, Fladervy, how much did that death impact you? Oh,
that's a bad one. Hopefully
that is a commentator's curse.
He's gonna be on a bit of a slower cycle here.
That's the kind of thing that Teach needs. It's not quite enough yet.
Yeah, you can see even with that, it's quite the gap still. It's nothing to panic about so far, and especially when Fladervy is corner boosting his way around these cycle rooms. It's quite intimidating. But again, now that we've introduced the concept that Fladervy is mortal, he can make mistakes. What does TGH have to say about it? He's been playing a very nice summit in the background. We're talking a lot about Flad, but TGH is definitely not a man to scoff at. Again, I'm saying it takes Fladervy's misplay, but TGH can't be caught slacking at all. But wow, Fladervy, really nice cloud strategy in that room. Completely mesmerizing. And he just holds on to that berry. Finally cashes that one in for the pie at the end. Just the question is, will it be the last pie of the night for him, or will we see one more? Will we see a game 4, or technically game 5? I don't know what you want to call it. TGH more determined than Fladervy. Keep that pie fresh. Keep that strawberry. A nice auto-scroll skip for both of them. Not something we've seen many top-level runners fail at this point in 2019, but however, it does happen to the best of us. This is actually a very good summit from TGH. Especially, you know, Fladervy is playing well too, other than that minor hiccups in 1500. This is definitely where you say, if more mistakes come in like that and TGH keeps doing his thing, I don't know what can happen.
Yeah, the lead is definitely closing.
$2.5K here. You can get some very costly deaths in this area, so hopefully our runners will avoid that. Now, there's also one thing to question nerves. How nervous are these runners here? Because when you're 5 minutes into this last level here, things can get quite tense, especially when you're at a trick like door skip, which Fladervy is gonna nail.
Fladervy has no problems with the door skip.
No.
I wonder if these runners even bothered to use down dashes for door skip.
Fladervy does. You can notice it in the line of the dash.
Ah, cool.
TGH is doing that as well. You can see the dash line is down by Madeline's feet.
Fladervy entering the 3,000 meter section. I'd say, I believe, with a clean 3K, he can close out a personal best and push us to a game 4, but We have 3 more minutes to go. Of course, in Celeste tradition, feel free to count down the flags in the chat for either runners. Just put some numbers 1 through 30 in the chat, please. We're gonna see here. Downdraft is a very fast-paced section. The gravity is going downwards, so you do have a lot of time on that ground, a lot of time getting your dash back, and your runners are going to capitalize the most off of that. As you can see from both of our runners here.
Ooh, scary. Okay, gonna back it up fine.
Yeah, especially plentiful spikes here. Oh, Fladervy missing a corner boost, but he's actually not going to eat his word for it. He's going to keep dashing up.
It looked intentional almost, the way he
Yeah.
managed to back that up.
Oh, and TGH is not... What's happened on TGH's screen? I think he all tabbed. A little bit mad at that death. Fladervy actually struggling on flag, what was that, 15? A lot of struggles from both of our runners here in the summit. I think TGH was actually having a very good summit until that death. So. Well, Fladervy is still cruising. Some small mistakes. But he hasn't looked too phased. He still has his, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but he's playing his game right now. And TGH is struggling to find a game that will stop Fladervy's. Fladervy missing the orb. Yikes. Definitely, I would not rule PB out of the question here. With only about 50 seconds left in the run. Anything is possible here. And that includes a complete lead turnaround if we see some cheeky deaths and some flag skips from Fladervy, but again, flag number 4, over to number 3. TGH grabbing the orb. Fladervy, thankfully he does pick up that flag.
He's coming really close to a PB. I don't know if he can sub 2850.
I think
it's really close.
This is going to be incredibly close.
Yeah.
For a PB, but PB is 2850, I believe.
I think he may have barely missed it.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be quite there.
2851. That is disrespectful. That is disrespectful. Well, and TGH is going to be closing it out here too.
It looks like we're gonna get that that tiebreaker race.
Yeah.
The ones we all crave.
The game, the stakes are high. Fladervy there, missing PB by 1 second, and we see an 831 summit. I can't speak on behalf of him, but I would, if I were him, I would not be. Oh, Fladervy just won the series 3-2. That's it. That's a wrap. Sorry, whoever I just made fun of for the commentary controls.
It was me.
Fladervy, TGH actually forfeiting the race. Fladervy just beat the game twice. I'm still disappointed that this layout doesn't have the pink hair for the winning point. But
next tournament.
I'm also disappointed that Flad missed that PB with 8 deaths. That's definitely a lot higher than you'd expect.
Insanely fast game 5. It's over, dude.
And just like that, Fladervy beating the game quite literally under a frame. Well, we have some time to chill out right now. Scores 2-2.
Yeah.
That winner's bracket advantage from Fladervy. I mean, we're almost seeing a similar trend here. If we ignore the first game... Wait, I'm going to go on a tangent here. This is going to be confusing, but hold on. The first series between Fladervy and TGH, Game 1 was a stomp for TGH. Game 2, Fladervy got, that world record, and Game 3 was a a closer but still a decisive victory for Fladervy. Now, if we look to this game, game one, TGH won, putting them 1-1 in this best of 5. Game 2, TGH again answering with another win due to Fladervy messing up some Bubs drop. Wow. I'm really good at. I run this game, by the way. And then the next game, Fladervy on an incredible pace going into that summit, but unfortunately not being able to choke out this PB. And now we have the elusive decider match. I don't know if what I said made any sense. Can you guys back me up here? Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were making your way to some kind of point.
Basically, I'm saying if history follows, Fladervy wins this match.
Oh, I see. You're trying to make a kind of prediction based on past experiences.
Yes.
Sounds like a curse waiting to happen.
I'm predicting that Fladervy is going to get a 27 and TGH is going to get a 26.
Okay. I think I can agree with that.
Then we pull in the real final boss of this tournament, Task Spot.
Challenger approaching.
This is the part of the tournament where I sort of wonder how these players' thumbs are still attached to their hands. I don't know. I guess I have very little stamina, but after 2 runs for me, I'm done. These guys are 3 runs in, and they're just warming up.
These 2 players, I want to say, are the 2 most no reset heavy players. These guys both have a lot of experience of just doing streams, just run to run to run, over and over. Not looking for a time, but just building up stamina and practice. And that really helps. That's probably the most useful way to practice for this kind of scenario.
To give specifics, TGH, when he was on his any percent grind, I have no idea how long he played it every day, but it was a long time, almost every night, just going at any percent, putting his head right into his controller over and over. And Fladervy, I think he's a runner probably in any game. His completion rate in Celeste is incredibly high for a top level runner. It's 90-something%. This man does not have a reset button bound on his keyboard. He physically does not know how to reset. But all that really doesn't matter when it comes down to this final game. History is left in the past, as this one game, this next 29 minutes, is all what it's going to come down to. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm glad we could see it come out to a game 5.
Same.
Celeste races always managed to deliver.
And of course, I would like to give a quick thank you to the Speed Gaming volunteers and admins. We get to run this amazing tournament here, which has been surprisingly going on for 5-6 months. It's been a while. 128 players. That's a lot to go through. That was a lot of matches to be restreamed. So really happy we had to have the match here. And also for everyone watching in the chat, you guys are awesome. I think just to show the power of chat here, we have a lot of people watching. Let's gauge some a vote here, a poll, shall we? How about let's have an A in the chat if you are predicting Fladervy to win this game 4, and a B in the chat if you are predicting TGH to win this next game. We have a lot of downtime, so
feel free to put as many A's
as many
you want
A's
in your message.
But if you put a C, you're getting banned. I can't actually ban you, so don't worry about it. Feel free to be as funny as you want with your responses.
If we get a dominant vote C, then both runners are disqualified, and me and Sushi race instead.
Me and Flarebear will get off the mic. We will demote TGH and Fladervy to commentators. I'm glad you guys are all getting into this. It's awesome to see people not only us who put the hours into the speedruns, but for people who watch them. It's awesome. TGH was an H in the chat.
With TGH.
Imagine like you're setting up for your race and the chat is just spamming letters. What do you do? We're trying to get into these runners' head here. We're trying to get their perspective as we try to cast these games. But frankly, if I was TGH there, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, the H option is the race turns into a 7-man relay race, 14-man relay race with one person on each chapter.
I call prologue.
Now we're gonna play a game for bragging rights. In the game Celeste, you can die. Our runners don't die a lot. How about let's have chat guess the sum of the deaths between these two runners. What will these two runners' deaths added up be? So you guys can put your predictions in chat, and I won't go back. Maybe you can go back, and you'll have the bragging rights of saying you got it right. We got time to kill. Let's put some numbers in chat.
Keep in mind when you make your predictions that there will be 4 guaranteed deaths, because 4 of them are intentional, 2 from each runner.
Just if you want the specifics, the one death is from 5B after doing the Bubs drop. You retry, so you can get on the right side of the screen. And during the summit, after you get the key in 2,500 meters, you retry because it gets you down to the bottom of the room faster. Cool. Video games. Looks like we're getting ready to start here. I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on that.
I would love to see one of these winners try to go for the spike corner boost instead of the Bubs drop. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Problem straw with the hot 0 prediction. Both so excited to be on a deathless run that they decide to do the corner boost instead to avoid that intentional death, and also don't retry after grabbing the key and lose like half a second. Because, you know, they want that 0 death run. Be pretty insane.
Whoa, I want to get in that giveaway. Hold on. Oh, thanks, Speed Gaming. We get some thanks, Speed Gaming, in the chat. They're awesome, for real. They run so many tournaments. You can look at them all down below. They also have like 18 channels, and they're great. Thank you, Speed Gaming.
Yeah, Speed Gaming are awesome. And if you can spare it, you should subscribe too.
I heard you can actually subscribe for free.
Oh,
Wait, how
we're
do you do that?
using Amazon Prime?
Okay, turns out, right? You can get Amazon Prime, which is like a monthly subscription thing. Not only do you get wacky, crazy benefits, you get free 2-day oh, wait, the race is starting. I can't sell out. Video games, welcome to Celeste. Game 4 of TGH vs. Fladervy, the grand finals of the Any Tournament. I would say the 2018 tournament, but it's 2019. We've extended our deadline, but it's okay here. In case you're just tuning in, the goal of the game is simple. We gotta climb a mountain. We're playing as Madeline, which is the red-haired girl you can see. Her hair isn't always red. It changes to blue and also pink, which we'll see later on. The game has 3 main controls: jumping, climbing, and dashing. Did I time that well? I hope I timed that well.
Yeah.
And using these very simple controls, the game is very easy to learn, hard to master. And we're going to see it being mastered in a couple of seconds as we're going to see our runners skyrocket their way into Forsaken City.
I thought you were waiting for me to like finish your sentence. I was just going to say like, oh, I don't know what it is. I've never played this game before.
I've never played this game.
Goofy?
Crouching. Of course.
Alright, so again, I'm just tuning in the main movement mechanics. We're going to see wall bounces. If you dash upwards parallel to a wall and jump off of the wall, you will bounce off it, quite literally. We also have hyper dashes. If you dash in a down diagonal direction, you'll go faster. This down diagonal dash is also stacks, so if you already have what we call hyper speed, then you do a hyper dash. And if you do another downright dash, you get more speed. It's called an ultra dash. We also have super dashes, where if you just dash and then you jump. Everything can either be extended or reverse. An extended dash is when you wait until you jump, so you get your dash back. This coins the phrase, "Where's my dash, Madeline?" which is something you'll see a lot if you watch a Celeste run streamer. We also have reverse, which is if you dash one way, you can jump in the other way and maintain the full momentum. Cool video games.
Babai in chat is asking how spikes work. You want to explain that, Sushi?
Basically, when you touch spikes, you actually skip to the next chapter. So our runners are going to not try to do that because this isn't any percent run, any percent no major
Both
glitches.
taking a fall at the end of the last screen there. This screen is so brutal.
So let's see, it's a 153 and a 152. So
Yeah.
Tej about 1 second ahead, right?
But then again, also, I do want to say these are the chapters. Old Site and Forsaken City, these are usually negligible in terms of a no reset run. Like, it's very hard to lose a significant amount of time in these chapters, even though we saw both our runners taking slight fails. Maybe not the chapter they wanted, but it's definitely, these two chapters don't mean too much. But then again, feel free to quote me on that when someone loses by 2 seconds. It happens.
How about when someone loses by 3 frames and then you're thinking, oh man, if only I got a better prologue, you know?
If only got a better 3B.
I should have hopped that one more time.
Very clean Old Site for both runners so far, though. They're showing that that city was a fluke. I like using that word. Very long room here for both the runners. This is the only, like, real place you can eat a punishing death in this entire chapter, but I hope they're conditioned well enough to not run into the goth girl.
Yeah, it's pretty rare.
And both of the runners not letting me curse them. We'll save that for later in the run when it's close. But into the awake section for TGH, and Fladervy will be following suit. Most movement heavy part of the game. If you haven't watched the task, just watch only this section of it because it's crazy. There are no obstacles really. You're just going from point A to point B, and point B happens to be a couple of screens away. So we just zoom. It looks very cool. Who doesn't like zooming?
Love that corner bridge Fladervy does in that previous room.
I actually don't like going fast. That's why my favorite chapter is 4B.
Welcome to Celestial Resort. Please enjoy your stay. Quick sync. Cool. Again, this is, if you haven't been here for the other races, let me tell you that Celestial Resort suck. It's a very cycle-based chapters. If you haven't met a speedrunner before, they hate cycles. They're not very fun. And Resort is very enclosed.
At least there are no global cycles, right?
That's true.
Global cycles are bad.
Between the last couple of races, we've seen definitely TGH kind of struggling in this chapter, but he seems more confident this time. Very smooth entry for both of our runners, for the most part. You know, the way speedrunners work is that they always like to nitpick stuff and call it bad, but at the end of the day, we're keeping good pace. We are. It's a team effort. We're working hard, guys. I made this smiley face. Okay, TGH here with the lead, going to the huge mess section. A lot of cycles. Not too many skips for the most part. But very nice first run from TGH. I think it's a 143 on the chapter time. That's very good. But Fladervy is actually going to respond with a 142, 143 of his own. These runners are on fire right now in Resort.
TGH
Missing a
the
wall
boost
bounce.
there.
Yeah.
Good deal. Ooh, Fladervy somehow forgetting to dash up.
It may just be a mishap in muscle memory. That was weird. If he got what he needed to do correctly, he just
Unfortunate death.
had a moment.
TGH there, hyper dashing instead of super dashing. He's done that quite a bit today, actually. Fladervy, I think he nailed that corner boost as he does.
Yeah, every time. Making that look consistent.
Fladervy really making
Wow.
a fool out of TGH and his baby strats, but he's
Oh,
also gonna miss
man.
that button, so.
Definitely losing a little bit of time here.
And this is where, while our runners are in the shaft, the elevator shaft that is, this is where we're talking about the demo dash. This is a strategy to get through a dust bunny wall that has a 4-pixel gap. It's a very precise trick, pixel perfect, saves about 10 seconds, but TGH is going to get on the first try. Getting a safety checkpoint, so in case he dies, he only loses 2 seconds instead of 10.
Yeah, and that's good for him because he had deaths on both the past 2 races.
And Fladervy has to respond here.
Let's hope he
The
can
first
follow
try of his
suit.
own, very nicely. Oh, and the corner boost. Looks like, oh, sandwiched by those. He was going for a very fast cycle. We call the pass cycle. Am I hogging commentary? Do you guys want to talk?
No, you're good.
Fine.
I'm sorry, guys. I feel bad. But speaking of feeling bad, Madeline feels really bad for Oshiro right now because Madeline kind of made fun of Oshiro and he's really angry. So he's gonna chase us. This section, we kind of avoid Shiro because if we get near him, he slows our game down, and that's not cool. It slows the physics down, but not the timer down, so we try to avoid him as much as possible. However, we do need to do a cheeky backup. We can't bounce off of him. This is our dash back.
Nice finish for Teach.
Very nice resort from Teach. A commanding lead starting off the bat.
Yeah. Finishing with an 802. Let's see if Fladervy can make it unscathed through this final room. Alright, Fladervy finishing like 12 seconds behind.
You can see it's definitely not a situation of TGH playing better. It's more Fladervy just bleeding out some small time losses. But in a game like Celeste, despite it being 30 minutes long, those seconds matter. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's not out, but that really hurts. It's not what you want.
It's a beautiful corner boost strat there.
Fladervy missing the bubble. This is especially at this point we're saying, well, it might be TGH's race to lose. But we have a lot of very punishing things that can come up. I need to try to commentator's curse TGH to make it interesting, right? Right? Do I have like... So there's this really hard... There's this really hard trick coming up where you skip an auto scroller. It's right here using this blocking. You have to do a very hard, precise ultra dash out of it, and if you miss it, you lose 10 seconds. Okay, it was worth a shot. It was worth a shot. I'm not that bad of a person, I swear. A Golden Ridge is one of those chapters that's really hard to get used to, where it kind of looked very like the other chapters if you just watch our runners do it. However, it takes a lot of getting used to because of the wind mechanic. Our runners have to kind of learn how to back up and how their movement is altered by the wind. I almost said differs. Alter is basically the same word, but TGH just rocking through it, as is Fladervy for the most part, other than that one early on death.
I'm a bit sad that that second auto scroller skip hasn't truly made it into real runs yet.
People are finding newer ways to do it. There's one that's a little bit more consistent, but still no one really goes for it.
It's in the IL world record, but it's still
Yeah.
pretty hard. Speaking of hard, we have the cliff face. I'm really good at segues. This section is really hard because the wind is very fast. But our runners are going to be faster. They're going to go to that right before you even know that the wind is pushing against them. Now, TGH is on a very nice golden ridge.
Oh, not getting the ultra speed he wants there. Missing that spring, unfortunately.
Teach close enough to really nice cooldown, which...
That is a very nice golden ridge split. We'll have to see how Mr. Chelino fares on our runners here. Ooh, Fladervy grabbing onto that. Now, for those who don't know, coming up in Chapter 5, fun fact about this game is that if you beat the B-side, you will unlock the subsequent chapter's A-side. You might think that you have to beat all the A-sides in the game to beat it, but you technically don't. And fun fact is, if you've watched any Celeste top runs ever, our runners do something very unique in Chapter 5, whereas that it's actually faster to go into the chapter, the A-side, grab the tape, and actually beat the B-side. This can save like 15-ish seconds. It depends on how good your B-side and your A-side is, but it saves a notable amount of time. But, the source of that time save comes from one dreaded trick. It has a couple of names. It's called Bub's Drop, as Babai was the founder of the tech. It's also called Chelino Drop, named after the man who single-handedly conquered Celeste speedrunning, Michael Chelino. It's a very hard trick, and it can lose about 10 seconds for each attempt. We saw Fladervy get hung up on it in the second game. It can be a very commanding factor in this fourth game. So...
It's a trick that basically gives you 2 frames in which to release your jump button, or you lose like 11 or 12 seconds.
TGH, what happened?
Oh no! He missed the fast cycle, I believe, and then
he missed the fast cycle and then misinputted, I think.
He did the hyper too early, so he got stuck on the wall.
Again! What's happening?
Oh my word! This is so much.
That's a lead.
It's gonna be really tilting. There goes the lead, single-handedly, in one screen. That's crazy. That's gonna be super tilting.
And these boats are going to be entering 5B pretty much simultaneously. That's fun.
Yeah, we gotta take some deep breaths. TGH has now destroyed his lead. They're almost even now going into this next chapter. But yeah, a lot can happen in 5B. 5B, you don't really have a run until it's out of 5B, so I'm gonna hope for the sake of the race that both of our runners will get that 2-frame input on their first try. But it is quite a rarity. We'll see how it goes. Fladervy will look like he'll be the first to attempt it. And succeeds. TGH
and
responds.
Nice.
We have a race. We have a race.
It's really good to see. That's one of the most worrying parts of the run. Okay, well, now we can have some fun. That's out of the way. Let's have an exciting race.
Got a bit of a messed up cycle there, but managed to get through it just fine.
I would like to take a moment to re-ask the chat. We're almost even here, 13 minutes into the game. I asked before the race started who you thought was going to win the series, TGH or Fladervy. Let's get the poll going again. Oh no, oh no, Fladervy. Oh, he just lost some supporters there with a very bad death at the start of this room, but he's going to recover quite well. Just giving TGH again that small lead change. Ooh, and he's missing the button again. There. TGH definitely capitalizing on that, but...
Yeah, I think he took back the lead by 1 or 2 seconds there. Ooh,
you're missing
and
the button.
Fladervy, yeah, didn't quite hit him into the button.
Yeah, Flat is behind by like 2.5 seconds. That's a little more.
Ooh.
Definitely negligible, but not looking great so far.
And TGH into the Theo section. The Theo section is quite technical in the sense that while you're holding Theo, we have to get Theo, that guy in the crystal, to the end of every room. But while you're holding Theo, you can't dash. Instead, there's this mechanic where if you dash into Theo, it kind of stores your momentum, so you don't really lose momentum. It's pretty cool. It's also really hard. Our runners make it look easy. TGH, one leg up of Fladervy after 5B. Oh, Fladervy.
Missing the Ultra Strat there. Hopefully he can back it up well. Oh my
what
god!
a cool backup!
Wow. What a backup.
I've never seen that. That was crazy. That was just
and the death cycle is not consistent in that room either. So
yeah.
that must have been pure improv.
That was insane. He just built up instant ultra speed in the corner.
That's what we call video gaming. Alright, Lake Skip. Hopefully will go well for both these runners. We hate to see any of them get caught up on it. TGH succeeding. I'm trying to use my commentator curse powers here. It's not working too well, guys. TGH is starting to run away with the race. Fladervy, Lake Skip. I would love this race to end it for one of these runners going for 6B.
No,
Fun
thank
fact,
you.
the Chapter 6 B-side, based off of the Chapter 6 B-side IL, is technically faster than the current any percent, or the Chapter 6 A-side. It's also faster in the task, however, that chapter is incredibly hard. There's almost no leeway. And especially when you're looking at someone like Fladervy who has that Chapter 6A world record, you know. It's not unlikely that he's just going to bust something out, but that Kevin block is actually going to bust into that ice block there.
Ooh.
And he's going to bust into some spikes. Yikes.
Ultra was a little bit too fast.
Yeah. Too hot on Fladervy's end. Too hot. Meanwhile, TGH keeping it nice ice cold. Going out the reflection. Some crisp movement so far. We have a long way to go, so... Especially the theme of this race has definitely been really good performance for Tej so far, but those two very punishing cassette room deaths. Oh, he's actually struggling in this room too. But those two deaths in the cassette room have really pushed him back. Meanwhile, Fladervy has just been generally mediocre for his standards, I'd say. Nothing really excelling too well for him, nothing really that disparaging. No, that's not a word. Nothing really too detrimental to his play right now, but probably not where he wants it to be. And if you want to play well, I'd assume it's in Game 5 of the Tournament Grand Final.
I mean, I do have to say this is probably the closest race we've had yet.
I mean, yeah, I'd say this would be like almost similar to the last game, just their positions are switched. Almost. I think it's a bit closer, but... And we'll be coming up here on one of the most notable parts of the game for its soundtrack. Plus, is a very beautiful OST, but speedrun viewers love to hear this sound. Hey, yeah. Confronting Myself, my favorite song from the OST. And into the Battleline fight. The objective here is to hit Battleline many times. Every time you hit her, she has a very generous hitbox, by the way. Every time you hit her, she moves. You get a little recoil splash to the left of the room, or to the right, depending on which way you dash at her. And then you get your dash back. So this session's kind of fast-paced, but there aren't too many creative strats, other than there's one cool one that Fladervy does go for, which I'm sure we'll point out.
The best time I've done on Reflection was done with the music turned off, which may or may not be because anytime I enter the Battleline fight, I probably mess up because I get too hyped with the music. So
I can relate. That and like Summit as well, like in 0 meter when you're on PB pace and you get that rush. Like, oh, this music's so good, I'm so hyped to climb this mountain,
yeah.
And then...
Yeah. The Battleline fight and 3,000 meters of Summit actually get me shaking. And it sucks.
Ooh, Teach taking her death there at the end of this room. That's not what we want to see.
And this is where you see, now we're almost 1 room apart. The lead is narrowing. And especially I did talk about how Fladervy is exceptional at the late game. He kind of proved me wrong by taking a dump on Summit last run, but hopefully he can bring it back so we can have a close race.
Teach hitting You're Not a Mountain Climber at about 1925. And Fladervy at 1928. Fladervy about 3 seconds behind right now. Really close race.
Now, to use my commentator's curse power, TGH has died in the last room of Battle Line. Over 50% of the time this race is. What, we played 3 races and he's died in 2 of them. Might be a mental block going into this last room. I don't know. And Fladervy, he's on an individual level world record, so I don't know, maybe just the mentality isn't there. But going to those last room, TGH, it's a very long room. It's also a very simple room, but it's very punishing. It can get into your head. But TGH is wearing that tinfoil hat. He's not letting my curse get to him. He's flying right through this, and he's going to be taking the lead going into Chapter 7. But Fladervy in hot pursuit.
I don't think the curse works. I don't think the curse works if you preemptively announce it as a curse. You've had a low success rate so far.
You say that like you have experience in commentating.
I do! I am the biggest commentary cursor.
Alright. Bring it in, chat. We are extremely close here. Coming down to the wire, the summit. The Holy Grail, the Hail Mary of Celeste Any Percent, the 8.5 minute chapter. And only 3 seconds
as
separate.
hype as you could hope for the final race of the grand finals of the tournament.
Make sure to get all your support out for these runners. I'm sure maybe they're not watching the chat right now, but they will see it. They will watch them back. Oh, Fladervy!
Barely living that. Yeah, when I saw him bonk into that wall, I thought he was dead.
I too thought he was dead, but he's clearly done that before. Fladervy, if anyone knows the summit, he does.
Yeah, cause that's a mistake I can say I've made a lot, and never once. No, my brain isn't nearly as big as Fladervy's is. That's probably why.
Of course, if you haven't played this game casually, go play it. But the summit here is the longest chapter in the game because we have 2 dashes, and in Chapter 6, some lore. We were knocked down to the bottom of the Mountain Celeste, and now we have to basically take a shortcut as we climb through the mountain. Yeah, that was a pretty cool strat. And extremely close here, neck and neck throughout the first 2 checkpoints here. Really just TGH maintaining his lead coming into this chapter. But again, it's almost mesmerizing seeing these 2 runners, TGH 1 room ahead. And you can almost blink, and all of a sudden, if you look at Fladervy's screen, you might think you're right where TGH left off. It's quite incredible just to see how good these runners are and how similar they really do look when they're back-to-back like this. But right now, backs are up against the wall for both of these runners. They have to play their way out. Right now, this game is too close for just misplay to count for it. Either of these runners can play really well right now with no deaths, and just straight up their performance in these next 6 minutes are going to determine everything. But so far, these first 3 checkpoints going smoothly for both of our runners. And 1,500 meters. A lot of
is crucial.
Yes, a lot of runners do consider this one of the more difficult sections.
Making that early cycle that time took a death on that one before.
Fladervy is cutting this really close. I think he's gonna just barely slip in though. Very nicely done.
Nice.
Ooh, TGH struggling a bit. He has no stamina.
What is happening?
TGH! What is he doing?
Wow.
Gets his dash back. But look at this! What is this? We're seeing. I'm popping off.
How? Okay, now we're
That was an
perfectly
incredible
synced.
run.
Vlad is actually like 2 or 3 seconds ahead, but like, how is that the mistake that brings this back? Like, I've never seen that before. Okay, Vlad on a slow cycle. Vlad hopefully needs to back this up well. Okay, just playing it safe. Losing a slight lead there, but...
What we saw there from TGH, he failed to gain ultra speed and he misdirected a dash, it looks like, and then just struggled to neutral jump on that wall. Wow.
I've gotta say, if that were me and I'm sitting there neutral wall jumping for like 10 seconds, your first thought is like, oh no, I gotta go back and get my dash. But then once you're 5 seconds in of trying to recover, you've gotta have like a little bit of regret, right? Like, is this worth it?
Oh my god,
wow.
Fladervy didn't get his dash back and
that was
Still managed to get it. That was crazy.
That was so close. That would have been terrible.
Despite all of this, our runners are neck and neck. Can you believe this?
Oh, this is such an eventful summit. Oh no.
So Fladervy boasting like a 2-second lead right now.
2 seconds isn't an incredible amount. Again, we can just see not only a death, but a straight up a misinput, a stall. A runner can pause the game and lose 2 seconds.
Yeah, this summit has been back and forth the entire time.
And quite literally on the same screen here.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, TGH a little bit late there.
I'm not sure what that was.
Line's adorable. Death for TGH. About a screen separates these two runners. It is incredibly close, incredibly tense right now. And we have coming up the viewers. I know you guys out there watching, your favorite trick of the run. That's right, the elusive door skip. We have 2 of them and we're going under them. Fladervy, 1. Will we see 2? Bada bing, bada boom, TGH responding, 1 of his own. And a second one, both our runners not fazed by this once impossible trick. Of course, nothing to be unexpected here. It is 2019 after all. And both our runners here reaching for the summit. The 3,000 meter section. This is it, right here. Fladervy versus TGH, seconds apart from each other, entering the 3,000 meter section, the last checkpoint of the game. It is tradition to count the flags. Numbers 1 through 30, put them in chat. You know how it is. Down drop, left face. Doesn't come back to bite him. Down drafter, clinging to the ground a lot. The game is trying to push you down, and because of that, you do get your dash back a lot often than if that weren't to happen. Fladervy, about a flag ahead. Again, one death or a mistake like that can change it. Missing the corner boost for Flad. TGH is going to respond by getting that one, but again, we're so close. What's happening?
Yeah, just a little bit of flubs, but still keeping it alive. He can't afford much more, though. Nothing major, but tiny movement errors when you're 3 seconds apart that's making things look a lot more scary all of a sudden.
Again, right now, you could say this is Vlad's game to lose with a slight lead, but it's so close. It is so close. Birdo, Flare, hold me. I don't know if I can handle this.
Deep breaths, man.
Envision the feather. You'll be fine.
Flag 13 going smoothly for both those runners. Probably a big choke point in 3K due to just the sheer amount of time you can lose through a death, but
This is so insanely close.
Yeah. My eyes are going back and forth on both these screens. I don't know which one to watch. They're tap that cloud. They are
frame by frame right now.
They are synced. We are synced. Touching that battle line orb, we are going to the last 2 screens of Celeste 90%. What?
This is ridiculous. You couldn't ask for a better ending to the tournament than this.
We're literally missing the same thing. No. That
TGH slight lead. Anything can happen. 3 more flags to go.
I don't know what to say. I don't want to comment on anything.
Can sacrifice this. Both runners skipping the flag number 2. TGH, flag number 1. Fladervy, flag number 1. They are neck and neck. Fladervy has a slight desync on the timer. This is so incredibly close. Fladervy's catching up.
Wow,
Fladervy just completely rockets ahead. What is happening?
Holy shit.
By 1 or 2 seconds. That is the closest race I've ever seen.
That is incredible. They were synced on the real time, but Fladervy's timer desynced is going to come in for him. 29-10. Fladervy takes the game, takes the tournament. What?
That was really something.
I want to know who scripted this tournament. Like, what ambient force is causing it so that every time we have a race, it's like, oh man, you know, and I've said this multiple times, but like, oh man, last time we had a hype race, it was so good, there's no way we can ever live up to that. And that's my worry going in so many times, like, oh man, hope we can have a really good race, you know? But like, what ambient force is causing it so that every time, whenever it matters, they just somehow happen to play this close to each other? Like, what caused it so that this Game 5 happened to be the most hype? It just makes for such good spectating.
And remember when I said that those 2 seconds in the early chapters wouldn't matter?
Well, yeah.
With these runners, I guess you never know. You never know. It's incredible.
Oh my gosh.
The arc of the universe bends towards drama.
Yeah.
And
or maybe it's all scripted.
Yeah. I can only hope we'll get them in for an interview because, wow.
The prologue did matter.
The prologue mattered.
If they got a task prologue, it could have been a little bit closer, you never know. Dude, I was shaking so hard when it was flag 1 and they were like a second apart.
I don't know. What do you do then?
And Flad was just popping off all of like the fast flag 1 strats.
I wonder if he was kind of watching what was going on.
Well, I guess I did kind of point it out. History did repeat itself. I can't believe it's the second day of 2019 and we already have our closest race. Pack it up. It's done.
It's all downhill from here. Because we reached the summit. Hey.
Man, Celeste had a really good 2019. I think that's all we need. I think I've like almost caught my breath.
Almost.
The people are clamoring for an interview, but
I'll
I'll have to wait for them to actually join.
Yeah, I'll save the GGs for when they're in here. Oh my gosh. Hey.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, hey,
Yo.
TGH.
What's up, guys?
Okay.
Can you guys
Sorry,
breathe?
We're trying.
Not really. Just let someone else take over. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm just like barely catching my breath. Like, I don't know what is making it so that these races always manage to deliver so closely at the end just when it matters, but it's making it so entertaining to watch. And I just want to say GG to both of you guys and thanks for playing. Like, it was so good.
I
And
really
hey,
appreciate
Flad.
that, and thank you guys for commentating. Flad, you man, that was freaking
wasn't-
sick.
wasn't expecting none of that. Especially after that 5B.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was harsh.
We saw a lot this
fi-
series.
Screw 5B. How about 5A, dude? Oh my
The
god.
tape room.
I lost 20 seconds in the tape room at 5A.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Like-
guess I think what happened was I was dashing down onto the rhythm platform, the pink one, because it saves time to do that. It saves like 3 frames each time you do that, and I let go of my D-pad like just barely twice
Oh,
and
nice.
dashed off the side of the block.
Oh. Was that in
And-
the second race too?
Yeah, no, that was the last race.
Oh.
Yeah. I remember watching that. It was like, wait a second, they're even now. What happened? Like we barely even noticed it, and then it happened the second time. And like, okay, now it's
Yeah.
even.
The exact same thing happened the first time too.
Mm-hmm. Feel like
I just want to like highlight the series as a whole. We had the first game, we had TGH almost besting his own PB. We had a second game, which was Fladervy kind of struggling in the 5B Bubs drop. And the next game after that, Fladervy bouncing back with an almost PB run of his own. And then that game number 4, words cannot describe it. You gotta watch it to believe it. Like,
In
It's
that
just so-
in that 533 reflection,
yeah. No, that was
This was
crazy.
just so back
that
and
was
forth.
like absolutely perfect. I don't know how it did.
Yeah, that was an IL world record, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
By
By
like
like
2.5
2.5 seconds.
But yeah, we definitely got to see throughout this series, both of these runners definitely showing why they're ranked number 1 and number 2 on the leaderboards. And, you know, maybe even showing why might even go back and forth. Maybe a game of ping pong. Who knows? Like, these runners are completely insane. We definitely got to see both their strengths and, unfortunately, some of their weaknesses throughout the series.
Siege is my biggest weakness, apparently.
Yeah, I know, TGH, we talked a lot about with you, those cassette room deaths and that death at the end of 6A in your first race. Do you think you were, like, mentally impacted by those at all? Because those are some very frustrating deaths.
I'm glad you brought that up because, like, I'm actually really proud of how I handled myself after those deaths because, like, sometimes I tend to tilt a little bit after deaths like that, but I just kind of had to tell myself to hang in there, and for the most part, I did. And you know, like, it's so mental like that. But yeah, I felt like I handled that pretty okay. By the way, I didn't know it was possible to overshoot those springs in 6A with an ultra. Like
That's one way to
that's
learn
possible.
I was kind of baffled at that.
What? That's actually possible. Oh,
Yeah, I know,
it
personally,
really sucks to die like that.
yeah, personally as a runner, like, especially with some of those mistakes you made, and especially, like, after doing, like, 9 neutral wall jumps in a 1,500 meter, I would have been out of it, but just the resilience.
That was another thing that had never happened to me before. Classic, dude.
I noted on those neutral wall jumps, like it took you so long to get back, and it looked like it was hard to make it, and you almost died like 2 times. Like, was there a point in the middle of those neutral wall jumps that you regret going for? Like, is this worth it anymore?
Is it
Well,
faster
I
to
mean,
die?
I didn't expect it to take that long to recover, but it probably would have been faster to die in retrospect. But it was whatever.
Yeah.
And fun fact, TGH wasn't the only one to make mistakes this series for Fladervy. I know that 5B trick, that 2-frame window, I hate to emphasize on it 'cause it's a trick that, you know, we all got to deal with on the 90% hustle, but that second game, you really struggled with it, and I know you're definitely a man of mental barriers, and you definitely try to cope a lot with no resets, but how did that affect your mentality going to the next races?
You mean going to the next race?
Yeah, after that game 2 where you just could not get the Bubs drop for the life of you, and it was very sad to watch, but how did that affect your mentality going into the next couple of races?
I figure out that's why my button taps, my jump taps were really slow. So what I started to do for the next order race was like pressing the jump tapping before entering 5B.
So you were able to adapt quite nicely, actually.
I wasn't expecting that sure, but it worked.
Yeah, because like I remember almost all of the fails. You landed on top of the platform after the jump, so it was like always like tapping too late. So that makes a lot of sense.
Tapping too slow.
Yeah, I'm glad your consistency pulled through. You've been going really hard, and you deserve this performance. So, congratulations to you, and good games to TGH as well. That was the closest race I've ever watched. I don't know.
Yeah, congrats to both of you guys. It was incredibly entertaining.
Yeah, I would never expect it going into any given set that a race would be the closest race I've ever watched, just because there's been so many good ones I've seen already. But that definitely delivered.
Yeah, and what a way to deliver, because in case you didn't read the title, this is the championship. This was the last of the Celeste 90% appearance on the Speed Gaming channel for the foreseeable future. So I'm so very much happy that I get to hop in late and join Flair and Birdo here on commentary, but also, we've been hyping you guys up a lot, Fladervy and TGH. You guys are the people to watch when it comes to this game, so make sure if you're not following them, if you enjoyed what you saw today, check them out. Also, in their final names, thank you, Speed Gaming. Speed Gaming hosted this whole tournament. We took like half a year to do this, and they kept with us the whole way. It was awesome. They're great. I mean, there's nothing else more to say other than they're probably mad at us right now for holding up what's coming up next, but yeah. Do you have any last words? I think we really should close it up.
Yeah, thank you to everyone involved, commentators, Speed Gaming, the admins of the tournament. We finally finished it. So yeah, thank you guys very much. It was a lot of fun. And Vlad, GG's once again, man. That was a ton of fun, dude. Thank you.
Cool. Stay tuned for the All Red Berries tournament coming sometime.
Soon TM.
Yeah, that's
I'm making words mine.
It's about it for all of us, I guess. So thanks to the
again,
viewers as well for sticking around and watching. I hope you enjoyed, but
Thank you, everyone.
from the entire Celeste community, thank you. We're so happy to showcase our craft, I suppose. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna hit the button.
Do
I'll
it.
see you guys later.
Peace.